I think Twitch is going to be having a lot of attention paid to it, and a lot of streaming platforms are going to be having tons of attention being paid to them going forward from here. Maybe more than people are going to be able to handle. Because for the longest time, the internet's been pretty open. Like, streams are unpoliced. Trust me. If you think that streams are like, oh my God, people are getting, whatever. It's not that. Streams are the fucking wild, wild west. Right now, this is the Wild West. I'm not even fucking kidding you. Mostly because there's not been a lot of money and there hasn't been a shitload of people watching these. It hasn't had the influence as like mainstream media has for a very long time. And the federal government moves slow on this. It could be a Trump thing, it could be a Biden thing, it could be just the FBI's double checking. Once money got introduced, I'm gonna pull this down. Once money's been introduced into these spheres and the influence spreads, the impact of every word you say gets bigger. On the mainstream media, which this is rapidly becoming mainstream as I get older and as all the little fucking kids that grew up on fucking Twitch start turning 18 and stuff and get older, these types of internet commentary areas are going to be considered indiscernible from mainstream news. Joe Rogan is mainstream news. Sorry, yeah, he's a mainstream fucking talk show that covers current events and political happenings and news items. Like that's the case. He's as big as or bigger than Oprah, right? There's gonna be a Joe Rogan book club. The situation has changed since the mid 2010s. This is why I'm telling you, if you're a streamer out there, I don't give a fuck how big you are. If you are using anybody's fucking music that's not yours and you don't have a license for it, you have to fucking stop as soon as possible. It doesn't feel like it now, but trust me, that fucking rubber band's gonna snap. Sometimes people wait to push a lawsuit if it can stay open until they can get the maximum amount of what we call recovery from it. All right. So just be aware. There's a lot of you guys out there that are really setting yourself up for some shit. But when we were doing blood sports, you go back to like Wasowski and shit 10, 15 years ago, whatever the fuck. I can't remember how long it was because it feels like yesterday and also 100 years. But you go back to fucking Wasowski Live, Medicare, and all that kind of goofy shit that was popping off, back when I was still in college and stuff. The people would say heinous, insane shit to each other, slurs and all that stuff, but there'd be a pretty fair amount of death threats. The internet was full of death threats at the time, but the internet was not full of completed death threats the way that it is now. Swatting wasn't something that the government was ready for. Now, swatting is something that is an actual topic of conversations in many local police departments. Some in major areas have like a whole swatting like department or whatever the fuck, like little subsection to try to prevent that from happening. And because it wastes resources, not because they give a fuck about you, but because they don't want to have to go somewhere where they can't shoot somebody after they put on all their fancy little fucking hockey pads. All right. As these areas get bigger and the stakes get higher, those flippant comments from like 10, 15 years ago, like, man, I wish somebody would fucking take you out. Why don't you kill yourself? This, that, and the other. That shit is going to have more and more and more and more and more impact. And somebody, Hassan, absurd, literally bragging like, I had more concurrence than some, major cable news outlets did during the election viewing. Yeah, that makes you mainstream media. But because the laws haven't quite caught up yet, and people don't know how to pursue things, you are in a legal Wild West area in a lot of situations. There's people that get away with libel like crazy, sometimes just because they're libeling people across borders. They're doing it to people that don't know that they could sue. They're doing it in ways that the government hasn't yet figured out, or you couldn't maybe put together a jury, or even just you couldn't get a lawyer to represent you because, the recoverability isn't there. If Hassan libels people, he's really liable for the libel. And there's probably a lot of lawyers that would go after him. And if the right case is brought up, you know what I'm saying? Free speech protections are what they are, but people on the internet are insanely loose with their tongues. Like maddeningly so, particularly people that don't come from countries with strict fucking First Amendment rights. You get to enjoy that on the internet, but as this money catches up, as governments get really hip to the fact that there's massive amounts of influence on these platforms, you are going to see more and more crackdowns. 12 years ago, the FBI being called out on somebody, it would be the most fucking grimy fuck 4chaner you've ever seen. Somebody that 4chan literally themselves fucking doxed and ratted out to the FBI, like the Catterday guy. Okay, they hunted that dude down. Perfect, great, no notes. You know, it would be really like nuts, right? But you know, somebody like fucking, you know, your average dildo, if they didn't do something crazy, that'd be nuts, you know? Now, that's a flippant comment. 30K, if I give somebody 30K, can you take care of this for me? That's terroristic threats. I remember when I said this about Hassan, and I was like, that's extremely serious, what he did. It's also, they might not necessarily press charges because politically you can keep it in play. Those things are going to get investigated more and more and more and more and more and more. The big thing here is the negligence of it, right? Because if you're not like, in a general sense, avoid it. Avoid ever suggesting that other people should commit violence on your behalf at all. Don't do that. Literally, it's one of the things I'd say. Don't even fucking have arguments on my behalf. Literally, don't talk to other people on my behalf if you can. You know what I mean? Because I don't want you to do that. Counteract that with, like, I just wish somebody would take care of this guy, and offering $30,000. Now, you, because you're smarter than the average bear, but you're also a Tyler viewer. Hey, very cool. Might say like, well, fuck, man. That seems absurd. What it doesn't take all 1,000 of the people that are watching and concurrently to agree. It takes the one fucking nut job goes, oh, well, I like denims. She's an internet hot girl, and I bet she has $30,000. I'm gonna go fuck. I'm gonna try to do it. You know what I mean? Some fucking brain dead fucking lump, some fucking gump out there hears that shit. They might go fucking try to do a fucking book depository on somebody. It's not remotely beyond the pale of reasonable assessment of the situation. Now, is it like full on criminality? Like you have to go to jail for 20 years and it's really, really worth pursuing? No, that's why the cops asked if the people wanted to pursue it. The FBI asked, hey, this person made this. We have reason to believe, because she's denims, by the way. She's in Hassan's audience. Hassan's audience has terrorists in it. Not like joke like, oh, I don't like lefties, Antifa, fucking latte sipping kid with a fucking black mask on in fucking Charlottesville. No, he has fucking pro-Hamas terrorists watching his streams because he shouts them out. He has Houthi terrorists watch his streams because he shouts them out. That's what happens. You're giving material support and comfort to terrorists. They're going to become fans. You know what I mean? Like if somebody started doing a daily, like, man, I love, you know, Tyler stream, I would occasionally tune into it, and I would probably have a pretty positive view of this guy. When you start courting people that do the thing, and you are directly connected in a monetary and like clout way to another person who's offering a reward to do the thing, you are in a completely different position than some fucking 13 concurrent fucking Andy who's like off his meds and talking shit. You literally have supported terrorism, and one of the people that are underneath you has articulated a fucking hit. Even if they're joking, you're too big to joke like that. Could you imagine with the kind of concurrence at hand? Fucking like, I don't know, Tucker Carlson, he's a fucking dickhead. But imagine he like brought Dylan Roof on, right? Like the fucking spree shooter, Dylan Roof. And, you know, Tucker Carlson's gone, and said like, hey man, dude, that shit you did was great. I really support the kind of stuff that you're going after, because we're ideologically aligned. That's great. And then somebody else that's in that same network that's much, much smaller, right, says like, oh man, I just wish somebody would fucking take care of this guy for $30,000. I would give I have 30K or whatever the fuck to take care of this person. Do you not think that would be fucking serious? like crazy. Oh no, what do you say? Like, oh no, it's one of the 2 a.m. people. And like, I don't know. I haven't ever even seen Tucker and them really interact that much. Like, no, motherfucker, that's a sphere of influence, right? First off, that's how terrorism fucking works. You have a sphere of ideological influence and you just have to activate little chunks of it. Terror is cellular. Once you activate it, also, it's very hard to deactivate it because once a terrorist is like, hey man, having power is cool, it's really hard to get it away from them. There is a very serious threat of Hassan's community, not as a whole, not like all fucking whatever, multiple million of them, just 0.1%, which is a lot when it comes to someone his size being radicalized into engaging in violence. His rhetoric supports that. His doomering about stuff, his actively trying to black pill people to alternative methods leaves only the unspoken method open. This is bog standard terrorism. Bog standard cellular ground grassroots terrorism. This is how you get white supremacists to shoot up churches. This is how you're going to get fucking Hassan audiences to do whatever the fuck they might do if he doesn't calm the fuck down and actually like get ahead of this. Well, I've talked to Hassan fans. I'm a Hassan fan. I would never do that. Bro, it's not all you. It's not all y'all. Even remotely. The negligence isn't going to affect the entirety of a community. It only needs to affect one guy or a few people. And when the rhetoric's there and then the means or the method are articulated, sharing how to build a gun from scratch as a solution to United States senators' bad politicking that your community would be upset with, that's fucking terrorism. That's how it works. I'm threatening you with violence in lieu of pursuing change through legal means. I am engaging in violence as political action outside of the legal means that exist within our country. I'm literally trying to break the law to change the politics. It's bad. It's bad when anybody does it. Well, if they do it, shouldn't we do it? No, you fucking idiot. Because first off, no one should ever be on the moral side of a terrorist. The easiest win is to say, I hate terrorists. Terrorists are bad and they're terrorists. Not, well, they did terrorism, we should do it too. No, fuck boy, you can fucking bleed out support for terrorists. That's how you beat them. That's how you do fucking Cointel. Or not Cointel. Coin. Like, that's it. Oh, he's just joking, his fans would say. You know who else says that about their fucking boss? Nick Fuentes fans. Steve Bannon people. Alex Jones fans. Bro, it's just a fucking meme. It's just a joke. So another thing. And so like Mike from PA is another fucking Hassan orbiter. The permissibility of these comments in that community is bad because it's not a mistake at this point. A mistake is it happens one time. You know what? I fuck up. Okay. And you got to admit the fuck up too. You know what I mean? And then try to make it right. So I'm not going to do that anymore. If I was like, if I got mad or I got heated and I was like, hey, I'll give you this to do this to this guy, I don't stand by that. It would be a big mistake for me to say that. And if I've said anything like that, it was a mistake and I was wrong for doing it. And if I have to take some sort of fucking hit over the head for it, okay. But like, that's bad. Don't do it. All right. But it's not something that I try to fucking, I would make a habit of. When your community underneath you is consistently jokingly offering cash bounties to harm your enemies or enemies of your movement or non-compliant political opponents, that's bad. It's just bad in a general sense. It would be bad if the right does it. And when the right does it, it is bad. The center does it. Anyone does it. That's bad. That's fucking trying to inspire terrorism. Even if it's a joke, how funny is it? Did everybody laugh? What was the joke? That you fucking get somebody to kill a guy? You know what I mean? Like, don't tell me, pretend that you're talking to 12 of your peers and trying not to go to jail for life because somebody fucking did it. Imagine you're $1 million in debt now because you're paying a fucking attorney to represent you after someone murdered someone on your behalf on a joke. Well, I was just kidding. It's all, by the way, every time you do this on the internet, it's a fucking federal crime. More than likely, it's not going to be handled locally. So it is going to be the FBI. And I think I've said this 1,000 times. You can have a lot of complaints you want about them, but they're unbelievably good at fucking up fucking idiots. I don't know how to say that in a nicer way. I kind of like lost track. They're very good. The FBI is very talented at what they do. They put organized criminals in jail after investigations that last 20, 30 fucking years. 20 or 30 years. They have guys that pretend to be other people for a decade of their life. Do you know how fucking insane that is? You know, we got used to it for movies. But like, the FBI has people that will pretend to be a fucking fake person every day, their whole life, for like a fucking decade. And then like literally eat a criminal organization from the inside out by learning everything about them. They start paying attention to your shit and they know that they can get political wins and justify their funding to as part of the executive branch. They will. And guess what? They are all political operatives. Everyone that works in the FBI starts working out of Washington fucking DC, District of Columbia, baby. They're beltway animals. They all understand how funding is come upon. They understand where the bread is buttered. If it's Democrats in the office, it's going to be Dems. Hey, what do you guys want looked into? They're part of the executive branch. The fucking goddamn president can say, I want things looked into. They can't make up crimes sometimes, usually, hopefully. But I'll tell you what, if an FBI agent says that you did something wrong, a jury of your peers is going to be looking at a clean cut, in a fucking suit, crew of sociopathic federal lawyers with guns that is saying you, Mike from PA, could you fucking imagine, are a threat to America and the life and safety of American citizens. What are you going to say in response? Like, have you ever seen FBI agents talk? Have you talked to them? Like, get out there. Like, literally, they're around. Watch them fucking give press releases. Watch them talk in court. They're better than all of the normal cops in a general sense. And now the country's red. If you are part of a crew of people that they can earn points with the government to try to avoid the we need to shut down the FBI rhetoric, which isn't going to happen because it's way too fucking valuable. There's always going to be something that's like that there. But that's threatening the funding and leadership, really. They're going to say, well, we have a lot of things that we can look into. Mr. Trump, what do you want to see happen in America? What do you think is the major criminal concern that you want the federal investigative authority to check? You know, we're going to work with the AG. We're going to make it happen for you because we are your employees. We're the employees of the American people. And we work and exercise our duties at the pleasure and discretion of the President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. What do you want?
Hope you enjoyed your time on the West